Right through 2019 and even the start of 2020 has been busy for BMW. Swift new model introductions and some great updates. BMW has been on a roll, really. The new 6 Series GT, new X3, new generation X5, the new X7, the new generation 3 Series, updated X1 and updated 7 Series, the new X6, the X5 and X6M, and a whole new 8 Series model line. Yes, it's been non-stop from Bayerisch Motorrennwerk. And luckily, most of that has come to India or will be here soon. And so now it's time for the big one, the BMW M8. We have already brought you our reviews of the 8 Series convertible, a first look and then the road test of the 840i Grand Coupé. And so as BMW gets ready to introduce the 8 Series family to India, we also have for you the range topper, the potent, powerful and near perfect M8. The brand new first ever M8, and lucky for me that I also get a chance to drive the convertible, and luckier still because this isn't just the M8, it's the M8 Competition. So the strongest ever M engine for any series production car. Output 612 bhp. Let that figure sink in while I get ready to jump in and drive. The car is hot. No, super hot. It looks the part of a menacingly powerful yet swanky ride, doesn't it? The convertible and the coupe are very similar to the regular 8 Series counterparts in terms of how they look. But being the M version, it gets more dramatic, flared out and sportier styling. The proportions somehow work better on the convertible, but then we've been through this bit before with the non-M 8 Series. Now in India we're going to get the 8 Series. The first member of that family will of course be the Grand Coupé, but at the pinnacle of this family sits this car, the M8, no doubt about it. The bad news, it's not going to be the convertible, it will only be the coupe. Okay, so let's look closer at the numbers, shall we? The most powerful series production M engine has all that power, and the competition model gives you 25 horses over the M8's engine. The peak torque remains the same at 750 Nm across a wide enough band. I am in Portugal's Algarve region to drive this beast, as it's also where I came and drove the 8 Series convertible and the 8 Series Grand Coupé, both in the M840i spec. But now, on to the real deal. The M8 Competition comes with an adaptive M suspension with variable damping. The MX drive gives you default all-wheel drive, but like in the M5, you can turn the electronic stability control off and get into drift mode. That lets you have rear wheel action, but not really the thing for public roads, mind you. The car is mechanically similar in many ways to the M5 Competition, but sits much lower, and that adds to the car's dynamics, which then belie its length and weight. It corners beautifully, and its road manners are impeccable, as is the acceleration and the response from the 4.4 V8. Now the regular version of the M8, if you want to call it that, has an output of 588 bhp. This one, being the competition, is of course a lot stronger, and it does still use the same gearbox, of course, which has been given the special M treatment. It's an 8-speed automatic. Inside, you get the latest from BMW. Everything from the new materials and color palettes to the new iDrive, virtual clusters, head-up display, a ton of standard safety equipment, some M-specific displays and buttons, and radar-based semi-autonomous features. But to really test most of that, it just made sense to head off the open road and navigate to the track. So it's back to the Portimao circuit, which is brilliant, as I recall. For the track, it's a quick switch to the M8 Competition Coupé. Same car, but slight weight difference. It is 25 kgs lighter, has a carbon fiber roof, but the tech specs are identical. It does manage 0 to 100 km per hour in 3.2 seconds, while the M8 Competition convertible will do it in 3.3 seconds. A lot has happened on this car as compared to the M6 in terms of the number of electronics on board, and there's a fair amount that the car can do for you, and a lot of that has been customized to be focused on track driving mode. So it's kind of apt, because with the competition model, you really do want to spend time on the track. I'm all set. On the track, the M8 comes to life. And how? You have a shorter wheelbase than on the M5, so even though it's similar sort of performance numbers, the dynamics are completely different, and you can pick up on that straight away. The car is completely born for the track. It's very agile, but for me, the big takeaway is the steering. It is so sharp, so precise, and really reassuring too when it comes to some of the high pressure dynamic situations. And then of course you know that the electronics are making you look smarter than you really are. The great thing about the Portimao circuit is that it's a really fast track, and it's got some very tight corners, so you get a good chance to be able to not only see how the powertrain reacts to that, or the gearbox, but even the steering, and of course the car's M differential. All of those forces kick into play because there's so many customizable settings, and you can actually go ahead and customize that using the M1 and M2 buttons here on the steering wheel. They've already done that for us, and so M1 is where the car really keeps a lot of its control, and M2 in this case is where some of that control has been given to you, and of course traction is off. So the good thing is we've had a chance to play around with both, and yes, the car is completely on point. The car's performance is brutal, and yet there's a certain finesse to it. It is so well engineered that it doesn't have a bratty character at all. There's a refinement and elegance to it all, even as you push the car to tire shredding limits. Full marks to the chassis engineering team. The stiffness and agility you get from this car because of its structure is remarkable. BMW has brought the 8 Series to India as yet another flagship alongside the 7 Series sedan and the X7 SUV. The X5M will likely be here sometime this year or early 2021 as well. The 840i Grand Coupé is likely to be the most attractive of the family for the backseat buyers here in India. But the M8 does enough to make a Porsche, Aston Martin, Mercedes-AMG or even Ferrari V8 buyer think twice.